Now, typically when it comes to politics and what's taking place in the United States, Charlamagne Tha God is usually on point when it comes to his messaging and his thoughts and whatnot when it comes to politics. But in this clip, we're going to see Mehdi Hasan confront and call out Charlamagne Tha God on his narrative that the Democrats now just need to concede to Donald Trump and they just need to go ahead and open up the government and accept that they lost. As usual, let's watch this clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end.
I got another question about the government shutdown. The ACA premiums have already gone up. They're set for the year. Democrats, we appreciate the effort, but isn't it time to reopen the government?
I mean, who's in charge of the government?
Republicans, but you still need those 8 Democrat votes to vote.
Yeah, because of the filibuster they now want to get rid of, by the way.
Yeah.
Having spent years saying...
And by the way, I don't care who's responsible for it. It's going to take a bipartisan effort. But isn't it time to reopen the government?
Yeah, of course it's time to reopen the government. But the Republicans in charge of the government. You cannot
but
have
they still need those 8 Democratic votes.
But you cannot have a political system that always relies on only the Democratic Party being the responsible party. You just can't. America cannot survive. We've created, it's like having toddlers, right? The Republican Party are a bunch of toddlers, and everyone else has to be the adults in the room. And that cannot continue indefinitely. And at some point, I'm glad Democrats have drawn a line, even with Schumer and Jeffries, where they're saying, you know what? It's up to Republicans to govern responsibly. It's up to Republicans to stick to their pledges.
But we know they can't.
But there you go. That's the problem.
But we know they can't. The reason I say it,
with the greatest respect, my friend, you're part of the problem. You can't say we know they can't because that immediately gives Republicans a pass and puts the entire American democracy, American government, American economy only in the hands of one party should have to deal with it.
I agree, but we know Republicans aren't going to do the right thing. Rent is due. You know, they're talking about cutting SNAP benefits. People got child care to pay, light bill, car notes. We need groceries. We need the Democrats to say, okay, we know y'all not going to give us no concessions. We fought the good fight. We're going to vote to reopen the government.
The problem with that argument is, if you're worried about human suffering, the counter argument is that reopening the government on Republican terms increases human suffering.
Yes, but the election's in 2026. So now you can say Republicans are responsible for your human suffering. Republicans are the reason you got high health care. So let's change this in 2026.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but a lot of the stuff that Trump did in the big, beautiful bill, all the horrific stuff, they very smartly delayed that till after the midterms kick in.
The premiums already kicked in.
The premiums, a lot of the pain. So look, there's a strategic argument for doing what you're saying. I don't believe, I've been around long enough to know that this always ends with the Republicans benefiting from Democrats rolling over, and I'm glad to see Democrats not rolling over. Now,
I'm with you, but it's hard to see all this human suffering.
I agree, but human suffering cuts both ways.
These food banks are so, the lines of the food banks are so long.
100%.
You know, we got government workers calling up here every day.
But the fact but the fact that you and I are talking about Democrats and not Donald Trump starving Americans and saying, he said at the weekend, he goes, I will not, a court, let's just be very clear, a court has said he must release the funds to pay for SNAP. And he said, I'm not going to do it.
That's crazy.
That should be the conversation. It's not should Democrats open the government, it's should Donald Trump follow the law.
Oh, no, I'm just saying the government should be reopened. We just know it takes a bipartisan effort to do it. Yes, Republicans are the main issue here, but we can't act like 8 Democrats need to vote.
It'll be interesting to see if they get rid. He's now pushing for the filibuster nuking. It'll be interesting to see if they get rid of that filibuster because, of course, in the long run, that will help Democrats.
They had a good night last night. Reopen the government. Let's reopen the government. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you, but I'm saying it's Republicans who have to reopen the government.
It's a bipartisan effort.
I mean, they control the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the
But
White House.
It's still a bipartisan
8 Democrats
effort.
to
By the way, I'm not even saying Democrats are the problem. I'm just saying it is a bipartisan effort.
Yeah.
And I'm saying give people their money.
And I'm saying there's a cost to doing it. I'm saying there's a cost to doing that.
And you know, where it's kind of disingenuous is if by some chance Republicans do make concessions, aren't you going to give the Democrats credit?
In what?
If the Democrats make concessions on health care.
If the Democrats or Republicans.
I mean, if Republicans make concessions on health care, aren't you going to give the Democrats credit?
I mean, yes.
So you got to give them the same credit now with the government being shut down.
Yes, that they have a role to play, yes. But it's about, but the problem is, whose responsibility is it? That's the point. I don't think, again, it goes back to my thing. I can't treat Republicans like children and toddlers. I don't think American democracy can survive if we only have a two-party system and one of the two parties is completely, we just don't take seriously. They can do whatever the hell they want. They can break any law, ignore any judge, shut down any government program, end USAID. And again, the costs of reopening the government, the costs of conceding on the Medicaid cuts and all of that stuff. Your point is, well, next year they can point in the midterms. But what about the suffering on that front till the midterms? What about the people who are going to lose health care between now and the midterms?
I agree with that, but man, that's one high bill to pay as opposed to not being able to pay your rent, not being able to pay your car note, not being able to pay your child care. Even if you have health care, now you still can't pay that because you're not making any money.
I agree. It's a horrific situation. It's why I wish people had not re-elected Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But we are where we are. We got Donald Trump for another 3 years minimum, maybe longer, as you and I fear.
And Democrats have to be the adults in the room. Because of that reason. They just have to, Mehdi. I know we don't want him to be. It shouldn't be like that, but it is.
No, but it isn't. Because I think you can. We have to change the way we talk about politics, the way we organize, the way the media covers this stuff. Because the minute you do this, let me just give you, let's say they open the government tomorrow. Let's say there's 8 Democrats, Philip, whatever. They come in, government open up. What precedent does that set? It just means that Republicans will keep doing this again and again, knowing you've got 3 more years of pain and suffering.
Yes, but hopefully with the next, year, you can say, look at your health care benefits. Your health care benefits are high as hell. It's because of Republicans. 2026, y'all need to change this.
So the Republican Party runs a completely opposite manual when they're in opposition. They do everything they can, obviously, to not make government work. They don't care if people are starving and can't pay their rent. But then they electorally benefit from that, right? They benefit from saying, the government didn't work. Things didn't get through. And Democrats, unfortunately, I think are going to have to use that playbook, as cynical and ruthless as it has to be.
Jesus Christ.
I don't see another alternative. You tell me what the alternative is. You're hoping that the government opens up and things go back to normal, whatever normal is, and then people blame the Republicans. I'm not sure I see it.
Yeah, I would rather the government be open, people be getting paid, and we're having these arguments about healthcare and Republicans fucking shit up without, people having to miss paychecks.
But if the government's opened up, this is a Democratic argument. I'm not a Democrat, but the Democratic Party argument is if the government's opened up, you're going to have huge costs in the healthcare world.
Once again, that's one bill as opposed to people not getting no checks to pay lights, rent, daycare, like no money coming in. Yeah, is horrible.
It's a effed up situation in this country. Yeah. We shouldn't. By the way, can I just point this out to people who are listening and watching? I'm from the UK. I'm an immigrant to the US. No other country functions like this. There's no other Western democracy that has government shutdowns. There's no other Western democracy that has debt ceilings. This is all artificial crap that's in our system that needs to be fixed. Again, when the Democrats are in office, they need to fix this stuff so that we don't have this constant cycle of this nonsense. The people are like, this is why people hate politics, to go back to what I said at the start.
So it's really good for me personally to see Mehdi Hasan calling out Charlamagne for this narrative. And the reason as to why is because, like I said at the beginning of the video, Charlamagne is usually on point when it comes to being on the right side of history from a political standpoint. He usually is on the right side of history. But his hypocrisy really kind of shines through here, simply because if we just do a little bit of looking back and we take a look at some of the quotes that it is that Charlamagne has said about the Democratic Party, let me show you guys some of those quotes. So one of the things that he said is he discussed the Democrats being late to the fight, saying many things should have been said 2 or 3 years ago. This is the quote. "My biggest problem with Democrats is everything they're saying now, you should have been saying 2 or 3 years ago." So what he's talking about is the messaging that it is that the Democratic Party are doing, they should have been doing it 2 or 3 years ago. So now when Donald Trump is weaponizing the government shutdown and using it and leveraging it to hurt the American people, you've got someone like Charlamagne who's basically turning around and saying, all right, guys, look, it's been enough. Like we just need to go ahead and get things opened up again. People are losing paychecks, this, that, the other. But the reason behind why the Democrats aren't giving in is because they're trying to protect Americans' healthcare. See, Donald Trump and Republicans have absolutely no problem using the American people as collateral damage in getting their agenda forward. But Charlamagne doesn't want the Democrats to do the exact same thing. But what you understand is this: Democrats aren't trying to use the American people as collateral. They're actually trying to save and help the American people long term, because healthcare is something that is a major problem throughout the United States of America. Another quote that it is that Charlamagne said, he accused the Democrats of inaction and having leadership problems. Here's the quote: "Per usual, the party of inaction, the Democrats, they never talk about nothing and they do nothing." So what my question to Charlamagne would be is this: Charlamagne, which one is it? What do you want? Do you want the Democrats to take action? Do you want them to arrive to the fight on time? Or do you want them to just give up and give in to Donald Trump's demands and allow the Republicans and MAGA to do their agenda and have what it is that they want to be able to go through? Which one is it? Because you can't have your cake and eat it. A saying that we say here in the UK, you can't have your cake and eat it. You have to decide which one it is that you want. Now, look, I know it's probably easy for me to say this as a Brit who's living not in the United States of America. Obviously, our healthcare system is completely different. But one thing that I can say is this. As someone who leans more to the left, it's actually good to see from the outside looking in, the Democrats actually bringing the fight to MAGA, to Republicans, and to Donald Trump. It's actually good to see. And I don't know fully in total, there's been a bit of polling, and I believe that the American people are leaning more towards blaming the Republicans for it, because Donald Trump, in the quote himself, he said that if the president, controls all the branches of government, well, it's down to that individual to get the government opened up. But now that he is in the driving seat, the energy's changed. The energy has changed. Now, look, I don't know what the solution is here, but all I'm going to say is this. It is really good to see the Democrats finally putting up a bit of a fight. I hope the fight will continue until some form of resolution can be met and can be arranged and solved from a healthcare standpoint. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this exchange between Mehdi Hasan and Charlamagne Tha God on The Breakfast Club. If you guys want to see the full interview, the full clip, I will leave the link in the description below this video, or as you can see in the top left-hand corner, the credit, type Breakfast Club Power 105.1 into YouTube. You'll be able to find the full clip there. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you guys are down there, do a massive favor, hit the subscribe button, and also give the video a big thumbs up purely for the YouTube algorithm. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.